The city was a furnace. Sweat slicked my palms as I counted the bills. Another night, another losing streak. That's when he walked in. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, a high roller they called him. Sub was the name. He sat down at my table, a smirk playing on his lips. "Let's play," he said, tossing a stack of hundreds onto the felt. The stakes were high, higher than I'd ever seen, but there was something about Sub's eyes, a glint of something dangerous and alluring. I couldn't resist. We gambled all night. Cards flew, chips clinked, fortunes shifted. By sunrise, I was holding a mountain of cash. Sub just smiled. "My friend is pleased," he said, his voice a low murmur. "He likes to see a man who knows how to handle risk." That was my introduction to the world that would consume me. The world of high-stakes gambling, where fortunes were won and lost on the turn of a card. And Sub, with his quiet menace and promises of riches, was my guide. He called again the next week. This time the stakes were even higher, and the week after that, and the week after that. I was in over my head, but the adrenaline was intoxicating. The money, the power, the thrill of the game. It was all I could think about. But I was a small-time bookie playing in a game with sharks. I didn't know it then, but I was already swimming with the current, being pulled towards something darker, something far more dangerous, something that even the most seasoned gambler couldn't predict. The phone rang. It was Sub. "My friend wants to meet you," he said. The voice on the other end of the line was deep, accented. He called himself El Patron. He wanted me to handle a delivery, a package. "Just a small favor between friends," El Patron said. The money he offered was more than I'd ever seen in my life, enough to change everything. The drop was simple, a nondescript warehouse on the docks. The package was heavier than I expected. Curiosity gnawed at me. I opened it, white powder, cocaine. My heart hammered in my chest. This wasn't gambling anymore. This was different. This was dangerous. But the money it was already spent in my mind. A down payment on a new life, a life free from the constraints of my petty existence. I closed the package, my hands trembling. I was in too deep to back out now. The deliveries became more frequent, larger, more dangerous. I was no longer just a bookie. I was a cog in El Patron's empire, $1 million cog. I moved shipments from Colombia to Miami, from Mexico to Los Angeles. My world became a blur of airstrips, safe houses, and burner phones. I recruited others, guys I knew from the old days, guys who were hungry, desperate, guys who could be trusted, or so I thought. We developed codes, routes, systems. We were invisible, untouchable. We were kings. Money poured in, more than I could count, more than I could spend. I bought houses, cars, women, anything I wanted, but the fear was always there, a shadow lurking at the edge of my success. Paranoia set in. I trusted no one, not even myself. The faces of the men we'd hurt, the lives we'd destroyed, they haunted my dreams. I started gambling again, heavier than before, trying to outrun the guilt, the fear. I lost everything. The houses, the cars, the money, it all slipped through my fingers like sand. El Patron found out. "You had everything," he said, his voice cold as ice, "and you threw it all away. They came for me in the middle of the night. Sub and two men I'd never seen before. They took me to a warehouse on the outskirts of town, the same warehouse where it had all begun. El Patron was waiting for me. He looked at me with a mixture of disappointment and rage. "You were like a son to me," he said, "and you betrayed me." He raised his gun. I closed my eyes, and then darkness.